Books and RB Digital present Don't Eat Me by Colin Cotterill, narrated by Clive Chafer. Chapter 1. 19 Eyes. This whole thing started and finished with her. She was in a crate, a compact coconut wood coffin with narrow slits for air. She'd screamed over and over, to no avail. She'd tried to make sense of it. She'd counted the unblinking eyes. 19 of them. One eye too many or one too few, but 19 by every reckoning. And even though there was no light beneath the thick tarpaulin, those eyes glowed deep yellow like dying stars. When she came around that last time, she thought she was still in the nightmare, and in a way she was. Her knees were tucked up tightly against her chest, and there was no more than a shoebox of space at the foot of the crate. But the creatures, the 19-eyed creatures, had contracted somehow and packed themselves together so closely there would be no contact with her. Not yet. She could feel their hot breaths against her bare toes. She could hear the wheezing in their throats. But they stared at her, unmoving, waiting for her to lose consciousness again, because it was inevitable she would. They would bide their time until she had no more fight in her. Then, and only then, they would devour her. Chapter 2. The Smugglers. Life sped by in Vientiane like a Volkswagen van on blocks. The streets were crusty with red dust, the uneven sidewalks sprouted half-hearted weeds, and the people neither smiled nor raised their voices for fear of drawing attention to themselves. You could never be sure who was listening. They all knew of someone who had fled the country, and at least one person who had disappeared. Many had relatives in refugee camps on the Thai side of the border. Many more had ambitions or dreams or plans to join them, but lacked the spunk. This was year 5 of a socialist experiment that had failed the People's Democratic Republic of Laos in many ways. The communist vessel was holed and on its way down. The Rice Collectives program had collapsed, government workers went unpaid for months, and Thailand had once more closed its Mekong border due to pissy spats over trespassing and accusations of insurgencies, and, never forget, good old historical animosity. The river guard patrols on both banks had been doubled, but it was a vast river, and still the midnight rafts of smuggled Thai goods floated diagonally north on the current, crisscrossing disgruntled Lao heading south on their rubber inner tubes. So it was a surprise to many on one humid night in August when 2 elderly Lao gentlemen were spotted paddling their bamboo raft in a northerly direction toward the country everyone wanted to leave. They were dressed in ninja black, but their grumbling and coughing destroyed any pretense of stealth. Between them was a balding, cross-eyed hound, and a mysterious large object wrapped in a nylon parachute. The latter was roughly the size and shape of a grenade launcher, and would certainly have led to the old boys being shot on sight if they were discovered. Smuggling weapons of war was not a wise pastime for men in their 70s. "Did they not teach you to row?" asked Dr. Silly, the stockier of the two. "I was a politician," Comrade Civileye replied. "They only taught us how to bail." "Then that explains why we're going around in circles," said Silly. The river ran high and fast at the end of the rains, and the current would have taken them far beyond Vientiane if they didn't lean into it with some enthusiasm. But paddling always appeared easier than it was, especially with a heavy cargo. From somewhere to the north they heard the crack of a river guard's rifle, but no accompanying scream. Neither the rifles nor the men who bore them had any accuracy. The old boys were not intimidated by the sound because...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.